A new winner was found at the last round of Can-Am Grand National Cross Country Racing, as 18-year-old Corey Buttrick busted out to the early lead and outdueled series points leader Josh Strang to take the win. Up next, the toughest track of all, Snowshoe.
Playing in the dirt, face full of mud, sacrificing flesh and blood. Playing in the dirt, digging in the ground. Oh, now I'm asking you, where you gonna be when it all goes down, 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 down?
Well, hello everyone and welcome to Racer TV. This is a very special edition of Can-Am Grand National Cross Country Series action. We are over 4,000 feet in elevation at the Snowshoe Ski Resort in West Virginia for round 9 of the series. Jason Wygant here to give you the call, and a massive crowd on hand. You don't often get ski resort village amenities mixed in with off-road racing, but that's what makes this race so special. Not to mention the fact that we'll be racing up and down the ski slopes. It'll be nearly 100 miles in length today's race. It is going to be one of the most difficult events of the year for the riders and one of the most exciting for the spectators. The top riders are locked and loaded there on the starting line. And we're ready to go racing. They line up in order of points today. Those are the top 5 overall of points coming in. Caleb Russell on a 250 is going to grab the whole shot. Now, normally he would start in row 2 of this class, but again, today we line up in order of points. Here's row 2. Nate Canny trying to get the jump, but it looks like Chris Bach, the rookie in the XC1 class, out front of that division. Another mix of XC2 250 riders and XC1 450 riders. And so far, Caleb Russell maintaining the overall lead. And this is the first time this kid has ever started on the front row of a GNCC. He's got Josh Strang, Paul Whibley right behind him. See Buttrick coming through here. He's Canny. And this gives you an idea of the terrain here. So rocky, so technical, and also, of course, ups and downs, unlike any other GNCC, because there's almost 1,000 feet of elevation change built into this track. There goes Thad Duvall on the blue bike, and then Jimmy Jarrett. And that is Stuart Baylor of the XC2 class. A lot of people thinking that Duvall could be the man to beat today. He's run very well on a 250 on this track. Now he's on the big bike. But your leader right now is this man, Nate Canny, who really excels in technical rocky conditions. The man from New York has had a tough season so far, but look at the lead he has already. It looks like it is Strang in second, Jesse Robinson in the right, and Jason Thomas goes down. And there goes Chris Bach, Charlie Mullins on the right. Here's Jarrett, Corey Buttrick. Thomas gets the bike back up and running, and Russell has already dropped to the back of that train, as you can see. And there is Duvall on the right side in front of Glenn Carney. Look out for Duvall today. But right now, the guy to watch for is Nate Canny, who's got to be wondering, where is everybody? Pulled a nice giant lead early, and this is up one of the ski slopes. This is easier because there aren't any rocks right now, and the riders are all learning this course. Now, you can't practice a pre-run at a GNCC, but you can walk the facility. With this track being over 20 miles in length, I don't know if anyone has actually walked the whole loop. So they're learning here on lap number 1. So we've got some dust making it a little bit more difficult to know where the big rocks are. Look at how difficult and how technical this is. It's first gear up on the pegs, and it is the 2 KTM men, Canny and Bach, 2 long, lanky riders that are getting it done in this terrain. Strang is here in third. He's the man that started the year with 4 overall victories. It has been a struggle for him lately. He did get second at our last race in Ohio. It was out of the top 5 the 2 previous races. Here's Charlie Mullins, the man battling Strang for the series points lead. Robinson goes by. Robinson's on a 2-stroke, and so is Jason Thomas there, who just went through. A tough track like this, the 250 2-stroke could have an advantage. In the high-speed stuff, they are definitely outgunned by the 450 4-strokes. But in rocks and mud, a lighter, more nimble bike, it's easier to handle. But whatever bike Canny is on, a 450 in this case, is going to be up front. He is really good at this stuff. Look at Bach back here in second. See these guys not nearly as aggressive as they would be at a typical GNCC. I think everyone is anticipating. Oh! Strang goes down, and that's what we're saying. I think everyone is anticipating this track coming up and biting you. and he will lose a couple of positions. That was another XC2 rider, Scotty Watkins, that just went by. And Strang knows this as well as anyone. He was battling last year for the lead in this race with David Knight and hit a deer. That's right, actually hit a deer and knocked himself out. So that's how quickly things can change in Snowshoe. No change in the lead pack. It's still Canny over Bach. Mullins has moved up into third, and that could have serious championship implications unless Strang can get back forward after that crash. Stay with us. Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am and by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Now, each week on the show, we highlight some other classes of our ATV group at the races on Saturday to give you an idea of the variety of equipment out here. Especially cool to see how the big 4x4 machines attack Snowshoe, and they definitely attack it. Big advantage with their ground clearance and traction on this track, and that's why in our morning race, the overall was actually won by a utility race rider, Cliff Beasley. So if you got an ATV in the garage along with a dirt bike, you can come out and race that. A couple GNCCs remain in 2010. We'll be in Tennessee, Ohio, and Indiana to round out this tour. So come join us live, either as a spectator or, like this guy, Nate Canny, as a racer. Now, the big prize today is the money. MotorcycleUSA.com puts up 10 grand to win this event as part of a $50,000 overall prize purse, and that's what everyone's chasing. Jared is moving third in front of Mullins, and how about Jesse Robinson, who has been right here with the leaders all day long, and he's on that two-stroke. This is what makes this course so difficult, as Canny and Bach negotiate mud and tree roots, and I'll tell you, you got to hit those tree roots at the perfect angle. They get so slippery when they're covered in mud, and these guys have to be very careful. And it's very difficult to set up your suspension right through here. You see the fork and shock just working very supple or plush as Strang comes through next. Very supple on this soft stuff, but at the same time, there's a lot of high-speed sections. Here comes Duval, and you have to have the suspension work right there. You'll probably compromise a little bit today and make it a little bit softer for the tree roots and give up a little something in the high-speed sections like this. Riders completing a 1,000-foot uphill climb on this road as they work their way back to the pit area and starting line area. Mullins, Robinson, and Jason Thomas now back up front. This section is where the XC1 riders on the 450 should have an advantage, and this one, as Canny winds out his factory FMF KTM through the pit lane. Then you have the RPM Racing KTM of Bach in second, and now the Ampro Obermeyer Yamaha rider Mullins into the pits. Fresh set of Scott goggles, a full gas tank. Here's the Monster Energy Andrews Yamaha of UKJT Jason Thomas in the pits. Some riders are electing to stop here and some are not. And it's really hard to figure out the pit strategy as we see Strang come in, because this track is so much longer than a typical GNCC. So it's really hard to estimate fuel mileage. There's Duval in the pit. And that's a new thing they came up, well, it usually works. They put a big straw and duct tape it onto a Gatorade bottle so the riders can drink a little bit as they ride out of the pits. Yes, they carry Camelback drink systems on their back, but they're going to ride for 3 hours today. And you'll drink all the way through that. Dehydration will be an issue. It's pretty hot out here today as well. So they're just trying to get all the fluids in the motorcycle and in the riders as possible. Look at Canny, look at the skills here. Up on the pegs, not dabbing a foot at all, no matter how far sideways the bike gets, and that's why he's been able to pull away. Look at Mullins is in second, but struggling, feet off the pegs, and he's going to lose a spot now to Robinson. And Robinson, the kid out of North Carolina, real big and strong. He can muscle the bike through his upper body. You see Mullins just having all kinds of problems, and yes, the camera is deceptive here. This is a hill climb for sure. You're wondering why these guys are sliding around in the straightaway, but no, this is a hill. That was Jason Thomas going by, and then Strang. So a race within a race. Strang and Mullins battling for this GNCC Series points lead, and everyone battling to catch Canny and take the $10,000 prize purse. We'll pay $5,000 for second and $2,000 for third today. For Canny, though, it's more about pride and momentum to get that first win. And here's Robinson trying to chase him down. Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am and by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Look at this. Jesse Robinson is a new leader here at Snowshoe, and they need trials bikes for this section. Just muscling their way over tree roots, rocks. Robinson leading the way over Canny, and this would be a huge upset if a rider from the XC2 division on a 252 stroke could win this race, and Robinson's in control right now. Here comes Charlie Mullins in third, and behind him another XC2 rider on a 2-stroke. That's Jason Thomas out of Wales, and here's Strang in the number 5 position, and Strang's starting to hustle through there. He does not want to let Mullins get too far up the trail in front of him. This is just brutal conditions. So Robinson in the lead. He has never so much as been on the podium at a GNCC overall before, and now he is leading this thing. He was once a top Kawasaki prospect, but budget cuts as they are. Kawasaki no longer fielding a team out here, and he rides KTM. Said he was done, wasn't going to race professionally anymore. Once they allowed the 2-stroke into this XC2 division, he decided to give it one more shot, and it is definitely working out as you see Mullins and then Jason Thomas come through next. But Jesse Robinson, on the ride that dreams are made of, he is a full privateer. You can bet he could use $10,000 from MotorcycleUSA.com if he wins, but it is a big hit. Because you got Canny and Mullins, and it looks like they are beginning to stir. And then UKJT, so 2 4-strokes and 2 2-strokes in the top 4 so far today. Let's check out our Rocky Mountain Spotlight. Today we are focusing on brakes. First, the Tusk brake pad. The sintered metal pad is $16.99, and the sintered copper alloy offers high friction for increased stopping power. The high-performance compound ensures increased durability in wet and dry conditions, and it's available for most motorcycles and ATVs. Pair those pads up with a Tusk stainless steel Typhoon brake rotor, which retails for $59.99. They're made from tempered stainless steel for optimal performance and durability, and can be used with any type of brake pad. And the wave design not only looks cool, but it also saves weight and helps keep the rotor cool to ensure consistent braking power. And yes, this is available for most motorcycles and ATVs as well. Get your brakes dialed in at RockyMountainATVMC.com. Going to need new brake pads after this one. They are just dragging these machines through the mud, and that will wreak havoc on your machine. But so far, so good. Jesse Robinson leading the way, and the gap has actually gotten bigger between himself and Nate Canny. Now, Canny is never lacking in confidence. I know he believes he can run with Mullins and Strang. The guy's been winning the race this year, and he's proving it today. He's leading Mullins. And the wild card, Jason Thomas, who's 4th overall and 2nd in his class. And he is far out in front of Caleb Russell, who is leading this race early. Here's Josh Strang going by. Russell had the whole shot and led this race, but he has had all kinds of problems. We hear he has bent the shift lever on his bike. So Russell in the XC2 class is way back. Here's Bach. You see how easily you can bend the shifter in these very tight technical sections. You can just tag right there by the toe of Robinson. All you got to do is just smack one rock with that thing and your day is done. And I believe you can see Canny now closing the gap again on Robinson. And pressure and nerves have to be a factor here. Jesse Robinson, like we said, has never finished on the podium at one of these. He's got Canny, Mullins, and Jason Thomas not too far back. A track that breeds mistakes, and $10,000 on the line if you win the race. And there's Strang. Good job today collecting points, but he doesn't want to lose any more to Mullins. there is Bach. Look how tall Bach is. And occasionally when you got to dab a leg in these conditions, he can almost pick the bike up, and that helps. So there's Jesse Robinson's dad, Jimmy, helping him out, fueling him. That's Jimmy on the right with the Moose Racing shirt on, and that was a quick stop. So they just topped that bike off. Now he's going to work his way through the chicane out of the pits. Got the Gatorade bottle, looks over his shoulder. He sees Canny on the factory KTM right behind him. And he puts that FMF exhaust system and horsepower to work down that straightaway. Here we go into the pits for Mullins again. No risks being taken by the guys in the championship hunt. And Mullins has had a tough time at this race in the past. So he's got to be happy to just be in podium position right now. Lots of racing yet to come here at Snowshoe. Stay with us. Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am and by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Oh, we got a race on our hands now. Jesse Robinson and Nate Canny into this muddy, rough, uphill section. Canny closing the gap, but then makes a mistake. Oh, and he loses as much ground as he gained. And he had been so smooth through this section earlier, but they must have been 10, 20 miles an hour faster entering it this time than they were in the previous laps. They can sense the end of this one and the $10,000 prize. Here is Charlie Mullins in third. He's lost a little bit of ground as Canny and Robinson push each other, but at least he kept the bike upright and didn't get into the trees like you see that rider off to the side. Fourth is Bach. So what happened to Jason Thomas and what happened to Josh Strang? This could be the opportunity Mullins was looking for to make up points. Oh, now Canny has caught Robinson again. And this is the high-speed section. And here's where the 454 stroke pays off. He's side by side. To the top of the hill they go. It's like a motocross race. And Canny dips into the lead. It's been about an hour since he's gotten that spot back from Robinson. There's Mullins in third, all alone. Yeah, so Canny has wrestled the lead back from Robinson in these technical sections. The lightweight little two-stroke that Robinson is on here will pay off. But on these roads, the 454 stroke of Canny, see that? He's able to pull away out of the corners.
Go get him, Charlie.
Mullins in third, and you hear the fans there on the side of the track telling him to get going, and you can actually hear the two-stroke up ahead. He's not that far back. There is Bach, a little bit of steam coming out of the machine. I don't think that's an issue. That's just mud hitting the hot header pipe on this bike. Back to the leaders, Canny and Robinson. I can't overstate how much it would mean for the careers of both of these guys. Maybe Robinson a little bit more since he's never won one of these. Canny has won a few, but he has struggled this year based on his standards. And now he's pulling away just a little bit. Got a lap rider there behind him. So Nate Canny going to try, oh man, that is beautiful. Up on the pegs, not dabbing. He's going to try to pull away late in this. Let's see what Robinson has down the stretch. Got to be so gentle with the clutch up those hills to make that two-stroke produce power in the right part of the power band, but not so much power where it spins. Canny on that 450, he can basically just chug through and idle through these sections. A 450 out here is almost like having traction control built in. If you get it right, oh, and Robinson almost had it right. Just one little mistake there is all it takes, though. Here is Bach in third. He's a rookie in the XC1 class, but the kid out of Indiana has proven he is not at all intimidated by the big guns in this sport. Just plowing through that mud on that KTM 450. Here's Canny in the high-speed stuff, and he is in a rush to get to the finish before Robinson and Bach can get to him. And here's why. He's into the clear. He's just got a few lap riders now separating himself from victory. His goggles are gone, but his confidence is not. Despite some struggles early this year, I don't think Canny ever doubted that he would eventually find his way back to victory lane, and he picked the right race to do it. Nate Canny wins at Snowshoe. And what a ride with a privateer on the two-stroke. Jesse Robinson takes second. And Chris Bach, the rookie, not too shabby as well. There's the results. Mullins, thanks to Barry Hawk, is going to edge Josh Strang with a few more points. Let's go down to Krista Shaw on the podium.
Nate, you had a lot of confidence going into the race today because you're pretty good at this kind of terrain. Take us through it.
Yeah, you know, after the last two races, I had just awful luck, and it was just really a heartbreaker to go home after the last two. And I guess I put it to good motivation, and I rode rocks every day since the last race. For 3 weeks, every day I rode rocks to get ready for this, and I came here with only one thing in mind, and that was to win the race. And I knew I could. I was confident because I'd put so much time in, and every day I was getting better and better and making the bike better. So when I got here, you know, I knew it was just up to me to put a good race in. I knew I was capable of winning. It was just up to me to actually perform well for the whole 3 hours. And, you know, luckily I pulled it together today. I closed the deal. So
Well, you get 10 grand. What are you going to do with that?
I'm going to go hide it before it's all gone. I'm going to go hide it in my savings account.
All right, well, congratulations.
All right, thank you.
And here are the XC2 results. Robinson, Thomas, Watkins, 1, 2, 3. They'll make up some points on Russell. And one other winner today, FMF Makita Suzuki announced they're going to give away Josh Strang's bike in a raffle to raise money for riderdown.org. Strang picks the name out, and it's Joseph Geyer. There he is. Actually put his little girl's name on the ticket, but I think Joseph's going to be the one doing the riding the next couple of races. So good to see an amateur get a great race bike courtesy of Suzuki. Early in this one, Caleb Russell had the lead. Nate Canny took it over, but there was Jesse Robinson in second, and he pressured and pressured Canny until finally he got in the lead himself. But Canny wouldn't give up. He was back there stalking Robinson for about an hour. It was hot and humid, high altitude, physical fitness playing a big issue. Along the way, we picked up Charlie Mullins in the battle for the lead. Jason Thomas was there as well, but then Canny turned it up, and using all 450 cc's here, he takes the lead from Robinson. Robinson would get it back one more time, but got stuck on the last lap. That allowed Canny to pull away and take 10 grand from MotorcycleUSA.com. Well done, Nate Canny. For Krista Shaw, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching.